all of us are on our own individual paths towards the highest, truest version of ourselves. That's why I named this book, The Path Made Clear, Discovering a Life of Direction and Purpose. It's because I believe that every one of us was born with a purpose. If you're here, you matter. And regardless of who you are or how far you think you have to go, you've been tapped by a force, the force of creation that is greater than yourself, to step into your God-given calling.
I liked what Joel Osteen said here. What follows I am is what you're inviting into our lives. So when you say I'm frustrated, I'm lonely, I'm broke, I'm pissed, those energies, that's what you're actually confessing and calling into your life.
Yeah, and there's another guy also who has said the same thing.
Okay.
When you keep on saying, I don't have,
yes,
the universe
it conspires.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
You remember that story?
Yeah. So you wake up in the morning saying, yeah, you don't have. That's what.
Yes.
Yeah.
The universe conspires to
Yeah,
bring
it just
whatever
conspires.
you
Yeah.
inspire.
Look at the way Marty's looking at you like. Marty, did you read that in the book?
I did, and I actually
It's
remember
inspirational.
the Joel Osteen quote. I remember that.
You did, eh?
I did, and I think that's something I actually have to apply to my own life. Because me, when I'm tired, I just say I'm tired. You know?
Yeah.
When I say I'm frustrated, I just say I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
You know? I didn't know maybe it's calling more things into my life so that I can be more frustrated and tired. And so that's one thing that Oprah has helped into my life.
Oh, one of the lessons.
One-
Tell us
one
another
of
one. Just one.
One.
Are they your one?
Most of the lessons by Gary Zukov were really good. I'm trying to remember all of them right now. But just every time I saw Gary Zukov, I was like, yeah, this guy speaks very interesting things.
Yeah.
I enjoyed what he was
Let
saying.
me find him here, Gary.
However, though, this when you're saying whatever you confess, you possess.
Yes.
And back to the question of authenticity, I think sometimes it's also still important to strike a balance so that if you truly feel something, be authentic to yourself and tell yourself that you actually feel that. That if I'm tired, like you're saying I'm tired or I'm depressed or I'm stressed, be authentic and say I'm stressed, I'm depressed, acknowledge it. Because I think there's a lady in the book who says when she has fear in her, she says, fear, I know you, I recognize you, welcome into my heart. I know you're scared, just come here, I am the boss right now.
Like a child.
Yes.
Like
So the moment you actually acknowledge what you're feeling, then you actually have the power over it to confront it and deal with it. But if you avoid it and say, okay, if I keep saying I am tired, if I keep saying I am this, I am not that, I'm the other, I'm attracting these energies to my life, that means that I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to be living in denial.
I think it's the approach with those two, like Elizabeth and Joel. So Joel is saying, be mindful of the things you're talking about or confessing because you bring them. Elizabeth's approach, I think, is if you realize and recognize what it is, like you're bold enough to say, okay, you're here now, fine, let's deal. You know, let's deal. As opposed to saying, I'm just so frustrated, but you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah, I think that's actually what Gary Zukov was saying. He was saying that something to the effect of the first step is awareness. When you're angry or tired, just be aware that you're angry or tired, but that's the first step. The second step is making a choice about what you're going to do about it. Because he was saying that when you're angry, you can decide to smash something, or you can decide to act out, or you can decide to act from a place of love, which is now the second step. Yeah, when you're acting from a place of love, that's when you're growing and understanding who you are. So I think that's something that I connected with from what you said.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different voices, more or less saying the same thing, but each basing it on their own. Yeah.
Also, Plus, there was someone also who said that as human beings, most of the time we grow comfortable, we get comfortable with things we know. So you used to being broke, you know how to maneuver. You used to being sad, I know how to maneuver. But unfamiliar ground, like go out there and seek that happiness. Going out there, seek that new job that you know is going to give you that fulfillment is something that we're not usually open to. Most people actually are not usually open to. We get comfortable in things that we want to complain about every other day. Yet we have the chance and the opportunity to go chase what we really want. But since it's an unfamiliar, you're not used to being happy every day. Because even when you're happy every day, you're like,
so you normalize it.
Yes, you normalize. You're just used to it. You're just miserable. You're like,
Yeah, I like what Jon Bon Jovi said. Anytime you think you've hit the top of the mountain, the truth is you've just reached another mountain, and it's there to climb all over again. And I'm like, man.
No.
Do you know?
No.
Yeah?
No, because what's the point of climbing the mountain just to feel like you're about to start climbing another one when you reach the top? There's no point. Might as well just stay at the bottom. Like, I've done the 7 hills, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, like I've done this. No, but then by the time I was done with the 7, I was done. I went home to sleep. That's what I'm talking about. Like when I'm supposed to reach, let me reach in peace. Like,
you will reach, but then that's what he's actually talking about. Like when you reach the top,
then what next?
Yeah.
Because how I understood it is, now I've taken up this mountain, I'm at the summit, I've enjoyed the views and everything.
Yeah.
What next? You come
Another
down,
mountain.
take up another one.
but life is not just an exploration of struggles. That's the problem.
It's not a struggle.
not a struggle.
It's not a struggle. But then he didn't mean a struggle. It's like when, see, when you have purpose. So you've decided to take up this project or whatever you're doing. You go ahead with it. You complete it. What next? That's another mountain. You go on to the next one. You do the same thing, or probably you input different learnings from the first mountain. Again, summit, enjoy the views. Of course, it's a different experience every other time. So it's not a struggle. Because when you look at it in a form of struggle, again, you're getting comfortable.
Yeah, the perception thing,
yeah.
the things you're speaking to yourself. This is a struggle. Someone talked about it, I don't know.
Actually, the book opens up and says that purpose is dynamic, it's continuous, it's not static. That I think, like, for example, right now at my age, my next purpose is to, maybe I'm done with my career, so I next move to marriage and then have babies and then, you know, take them to kindergarten, graduate them to invest in whatever else. And I'm thinking I'm done, because it says, what if everything that you had planned to do, for example, if you write a book, you finished it at the age of 27, then you have nothing else to live for. You can as well die, because your purpose is done. But then you realize that the moment I reach this point, there's something new to live for. Like, she's a parent. For a parent, the moment a child gets to primary school, you know, high school is coming, university is coming, then they're done. Then you have to talk about perhaps marriage if they're thinking of it. When that is done, you're sitting down, you're pushing 60, you're thinking of, now I want to sit down at home and talk about grandchildren. Now the talk in the house changes. I want grandbabies, because your purpose is done. You have nothing to do with career, nothing else. So by the time you are closing your curtains of your life, you're reviewing back, you seeing the different parts of life that you have contributed to.
Are we talking about goals or purpose? Because what you've described sounds like goals.
It's
Because
more of the same.
I thought like purpose was the overarching question behind what are you here to do.
You see, there's this lady who says you can be called to something and you can be called away from something, from the book. So perhaps my purpose right now in this set is to just discuss this particular book, and maybe because my interest is to write a book at some point. So once I've written the book, so what next? It will get reviewed by everybody else, and then I'm seated down and I'm waiting for whatever else. I could as well die at that point. Or I could figure out now what next to do with my life, because now the things I thought I'd wanted to do, I've achieved at perhaps a certain age. Then
Okay, yeah, I understand what you guys are saying, but my perspective is more of like, if your purpose here on earth is to make others feel better, you're never fully done. That's what I'm saying. You just move on from one method of doing that to the next. If it was writing a book today, then you've done that, and then you go into marriage, you're making your relatives, maybe your husband, maybe your kids feel better or learn something from you. Your purpose keeps on continuing despite your different tasks.
Yeah, that's what she's talking about, like dynamic, the dynamism of your purpose.
Right. So we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, I think you're both saying the same. Like the book.
Yeah.
These contributors are saying
the same thing.
we're just drawing lessons from different people.
Yeah, different people. I like Michael's and Michael Bennett Beckwith, and it talks to what we were saying again. So he says, once you release your grasp, then you give up your resistance, and then that which is for you will come to you. Then Oprah says, because when you want it, it doesn't show up. Then he says, yes, your message to the universe at that moment is I want it, which is translating into I don't have it. So you can't receive it. So you end up blocking your blessing in that way. That was too complex for me. So I'm like, I'm supposed to be saying these positive things, like I want this so that the universe can bring these things to me. And then now this Michael comes in and says, The universe is translating that to I don't have it.
No, actually, this is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's language. What he meant is, you know, there are guys who, when they lack one thing, they'll go on about it and literally halt every other thing. So you just don't have a shoe, but you have this. You have the slip-ons. You know, you have sandals that you can work with, but you're so adamant and so focused on that one shoe that you literally forget to count your blessings about these other small things. This is it. It's not really. Yeah, it's really it felt like the guys who are so stuck. Like I need to have like everything all together to proceed. Yet you can proceed with whatever you're doing without this one thing. Then eventually it's gonna catch up along the way.
It's like, for example, if you wanted to do exercise, maybe that's your goal to maybe stay fit for whatever reason, and then you use the word I would like to, or I should do, or I will do. I read this in the book called Get It Done. It's addressed to women, but I've forgotten the writer's name. But she says that if you say I should do, you are creating room for excuse. It's like there are gaps. You're just telling everybody there are things. So every time that time comes, you're looking for a new excuse and a new excuse. Like the way Oprah was called to speak to Harvard, and then every time she gets to writing, she's thinking, an Ivy League school? Nah, get an excuse not to do it. I should write this. I should write it. But if she got to the point and say, I will, that's done. It's in your mind, I am going to do this, and then just sit down and write it, and that is done. I think it's just the language, and then that language will translate to a certain frequency now that brings the universe to do what that's required.
So we shouldn't be saying I want it. Now what should we say then if it's language?
The way I understood it was more of like, you see when you're hitting on a girl, like that you really want to like be with and everything.
Yeah.
You should show that you're interested, but don't be desperate. That's literally just the way I understood it. That's how.
So
I
like
saw it.
where Michael says, so release the grass.
So you text on Monday, then text again on next week Monday.
No, like if she's replied, you know, like you're supposed to show that you're interested, but don't be desperate. You don't have to text 5 times.
What is desperation? Using your example, what would be a desperate scenario?
You know how you're just in the DMs and you're just talking to yourself? It's just you just there over like for a whole week. You know, for a whole week, you're just talking to yourself. You know what? Just close it and just move on to your life.
Maybe a valid example from what she's shared is like when you want to start off a fitness journey. So you don't have enough, or you don't have cash to pay for a gym, but you can get sports shoes and start walking. You're willing to make a change. You don't just sit there and say, I don't have money, so I can't sign up to a gym. You can still walk. That is you making an effort. You don't have to wait until you have that money to pay for a gym.
Excuse.
Just stop saying I don't.
But I kind of like your explanation. Like, want it, but don't let it kill you.
Yeah, because you know when you're desperate, it's almost like you're empty, and you want what you're looking for to come and fill up something. Yeah.
The missing tile.
Yeah.
That's deep. What African book is
that?
What African book did you get up?
Yeah, missing tile syndrome. Like when you see something that's missing, there's all these tiles that's there. So because that's all you keep seeing. The only thing that you're going to be seeing is that what is missing, you forget all the other tiles that are fit in place.
There. Yeah.
What you just said.
Yeah.
And what is
It's depth.
I mean, yeah, it's just me. Sorry.
Write a book.
Yeah, write a book. Yeah. Okay. I'm scrolling through Jack Canfield. I think the greatest wound we've all experienced is somehow being rejected for being our authentic self.
Yeah.
Have you been rejected for being authentic, Marty?
I mean, I thought I was being authentic, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how that went, but.
Was it a relationship?
It was about to be, but it didn't get to that point.
Okay.
So yeah, I was told that my sense of humor is too extra. So, and that was me trying to be authentic. You know, I was just like, you know, sense of humor is too extra, so I'll try to be authentic, and that door just closed. So I mean, yeah, it was a rejection based on who I am. But
yeah,
I mean, as I grew up later on, I was just like, it was actually me being saved from a situation that I would not have fit in anyway. You know, because if someone you're supposed to spend a lot of your time with does not understand when you're trying to be funny or when you're being funny, then there's no point in
Yeah,
being
yeah.
Right.
And I think we face rejection all the time, as women and as men. So
Right.
you hear, will you look at a girl and immediately judge just by looking at someone? You haven't talked to them, or you just read a story about someone. Those killings you told me you were discussing in your podcast.
Yeah.
When they happened, the kind of conspiracy theories and judgment that was unleashed on social media,
Right.
you don't even know these women. You
Yeah.
do not know these women, but you are there feeding on that thing. You're feeding on that thing, even commenting on it.
Right.
So I think every day we go through that, like what you said very earlier on, like because you do not want to show who you really are because you're afraid of the backlash from people. They'll still keep killing a certain part of who I am.
Yeah.
And I think the book helps to, I just think the book helps us to grow up and grow up courageously. Like it's okay. And all the power is in, I mean, we can't exhaust this book in one show, but like the power is in you. Not this material wealth, not who you know, it's you. For me, that's the most profound thing.
Okay, yeah, and I understand where you're coming from, but the way I was seeing it was, and I understood it exactly like that, but the step further I went was, I was a bit skeptical because it was coming from people who've actually made it. Like for some of us, we're still looking for the success and the validation and the money and all those things.
They talked about their journey.
Yeah, they found it at the end. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So is it something that I'm supposed to learn right now, or will I also learn at the end when I get there?
No, I think the purpose again is to teach you patience and never give up, because I think that's the whole point anyway at the end of the day. Because how I felt was like, if this person is here and they went through all this, I can still manage my struggle wherever I am. Because half of the time when you see like celebs having made it, you think they don't have struggle. They do have struggle. Remember, there's a celeb actually who said she thought when she becomes famous,
Yeah.
the loneliness will go.
Yeah.
The struggle about trying to make friends will go, nothing.
Yeah.
It even gets worse. Because you're not even sure who's genuine and who is not, you know.
So can't I get there and then figure that out?
You will get there.
Yeah, because there's no point having purpose and I'm, poor.
Well, if
Like,
you don't have
at
a
least
purpose
right now.
you can't get there because
And
you
no one
really
is
don't know where you're
Because I'm going through the
anyway.
journey. Do I have
That's
to?
why the book
Yeah.
is the path made clear. So at
Right.
where you are now, it's actually a path and it's not the wrong path. I
Right.
like that you also liberated us. You know how at times you can doubt yourself, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing at the right time? Am I even supposed to be here? But I like that one of either 2 or 3 people said, nothing is out of order. You're actually where you're supposed to be until your next discovery. True. I loved it.
And she said, God never says no actually. He just tells you no right now because I've seen you somewhere else. It's a yes or not right now. I've seen you somewhere else. Then another thing it also says is, no one is poor, by the way.
Yeah.
No one is poor. We are all worthy, one way or another.
Yeah.
When you sit down and start appreciating the little things, like she has a gratitude book.
Yeah,
Apparently
gratitude
just,
journal.
yeah, she just writes down the little things that she has in her life. Because she said poverty is not a lack of money. It's a lack of you appreciating the little things that you have in your life.
Start a journal, boy. Start a journal. Closing remarks. We start with you, Jayang.
The book is wonderful, and because it's a self-help book, I'd say don't expect magic out of it just because it was written by Oprah and it's a self-help book. It's more of what you get out of it and what you do with what you get in it that would help you rather than just reading it. And it's important to own the journey and not try to be like other people. Be authentic. Like, okay, I'm trying to find my path and whatever else, but also don't overkill yourself trying to find purpose, because every end of the year, every beginning of the year, we are trying to write down things. I got tired of that myself. Sometimes just let life be, let life come, let life be, as much as people would look at you and think like you have no direction in life, why are you seated there, what are you doing with your life, just let life unfold sometimes, because that's the beauty of it, because you get to discover, and that's how you truly learn what your purpose is. And you look back and say, by the way, you know, God was taking me through a journey, and these are the lessons that I'm learning now. Also appreciating that, you know, the recovery and discovery is happening at the same time. It's like the yang and yin thing that is happening. So you need to appreciate that life is a circle and it's going through that way. So I think this is a really wonderful book. The audio book, I listened to the audio version. I think it's way better than the PDF and the print versions, because now you actually get to get the feel, the emotions, and everything that is being said. Actually, I compared the audio. I listened to the audio itself and read the book alone, and then compared the two at the same time. I realized the audio was, for me, much more authentic, and it was really much closer home
somewhere
than reading the book. So it's really up to your choice. If you're somewhere in traffic, the audio might be a wonderful thing for you. But it's a really good book that everyone should go and read. Take notes, give your lessons.
And it's not a one-time read either.
No, it's a book that you can read several times. It's almost like, you know, next to your
Second
journal,
to my Bible and my journal. I said that.
Exactly.
Marty, this African-American lady has written a wonderful book, no?
It's a good book. I learned from it. I learned a lot from it. What I'd say is, just if you're looking to get inspired, just don't read it for inspiration. Read it as a workbook, right? Sit down with your journal and be honest with yourself. Give yourself like a few hours, sit down, and as you go through every chapter, just jot something as selfishly as possible as you can. All the lessons you learn from it, all the takeaways, make sure that it applies to you, because it's very important. And then use that workbook, you know, to go through your own life. So that's what I say. I mean, Oprah tried. Yeah, it's a good try.
She just wanted to say she was perfect. It's fine. We get you. Yes.
Now, the guys who struggle to find their purpose, this will be a good start, because it brings about different perspective. You get to understand, then again you get to reflect. The journal is very important. Take notes, go through it, you find your path, I believe, one way or another. Two, I sort of confirmed, like I need to do small cutouts. They were telling me about the little pots. And I've done this with The Prophet. We were discussing The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. It's really a nice book, so it's my add-on to that. So it's a book that I'll keep on picking up, checking once in a while. Because I felt like it's a long time. It's not those ones that you do pack and go. It's pretty good.
It is. So I suppose we're all in agreement. The Path Made Clear is a wonderful book.
Yeah, good. It's a good book.
Thank you guys for coming today.
Thank you for
So if you can pick up Oprah's latest book, The Path Made Clear, like they've all said, it's a workbook. Be honest with yourself, because it's only just you and the book anyway, so there's no one you need to impress. I love it. I love this book. Find it. Own it. For the rest of your life. Thank you for watching today. Have a blessed week.